Hello, my friends, and welcome to Italy, a place to love YouTube channel. The channel where I like to talk about the good, the bad, and all we have to know about Italy and the life in Italy. Now, so let's start with today's video. Today's video is quite important because the video that I made yesterday was about is it convenient to buy a holiday home in Italy? And let's say this was the answer of one of my subscribers. I also apologize because it's a he and not a she, so let's precise. I guessed by the nickname, but that's fine, it's not a problem. So basically, I answer to his comment if is it convenient to buy a property in Italy as a holiday home, and in general, I gave an answer, but that wasn't the point because he wrote me back under the video that I made yesterday, and he said to me, Antonio, but I mentioned something else. So let me explain you what he mentioned in his comment. Now it was clearer, and then now I can answer again to his comment. Then anyway, before you watch the video, please put like and subscribe. It helps the channel to grow. And if you want, you join my Facebook group, which is called Italy, a place to love. All right, so let's start, and let me read again partially the message in Italian, and then I will translate slowly in Italian for you, if you understand a bit of Italian, to understand. Now, lo ammetto, la confusione è tutta mia. Non ho spiegato bene la domanda. I'm sorry, the confusion was mine. I didn't explain properly the question. Quello che intendevo davvero era: conviene comprare una casa in Italia solo per le vacanze oppure è meglio affittare ogni volta un appartamento, hotel or B&B? Now, this is the part. What I meant really was, is it convenient to buy a house in Italy only for the holidays, or it's better each time to rent an apartment, a hotel, or a B&B? Now, the point now is clear, okay? It's clear to me. And then now he continues because this is, again, the core of the question. Perché quando possiedi una casa, because when you own a house, a property, finisci per andare sempre nello stesso posto. You ended up always with going to the same place. True, because if we buy a property, the property is just in one place. So, and doesn't allow you to visit other places. While if you don't own the house, each year, anytime you have holidays, you can go anywhere you want. I got this point. So, and it's interesting. It makes sense. Then it says, e ti becchi anche tasse annuali. So you also get the annual taxes, the bills, le bollette, e magari pure il piacere di litigare con l'idraulico locale. Now, he said, and maybe even the pleasure to argue with a local plumber or with a local electrician or with the local construction workers if you're doing some renovation works, which I would say I would call it, let's say, maintenance. Then, if we argue, that's another story, but so the cost of the house is always in the same place. You get the taxes, the bills, and the maintenance. These are 5 interesting points anyway, before we might think, to buy a holiday home. Mentre affittando puoi esplorare ogni volta una regione diversa. Now, if you're in love with Italy, for example, he says, while if you're renting, each time you can rent in a different region, in a different town, so it gives you the chance to explore different places, which I agree, okay? conoscere nuovi personaggi e evitare di diventare il sindaco non retribuito del tuo tetto. I like the sense of humor here. So it gives you the chance always to meet new people if you are renting and not owning a holiday home while you go always somewhere else, and you avoid to become the major of the city, mayor, I think it's mayor of the city, not paid, let's say a mayor not paid, and makes you anyway the owner of your roof, but you only have expenses. So this is the point. This is a very, very interesting point, and technically I would answer just by saying one thing. Okay. This is for me what is important, all right? So, and it's about the mindset. The answer of this comment is only behind the mindset that any of us has. Okay, any of us have. All right, so let me explain you better. Let's divide people into categories. Just to give you a stupid example, I don't like divisions. I don't like division, but to explain you better, I might say, okay, there is the person, the personality, the kind of character that would like to always visit something else, something different, and makes sense, because if your personality, if you're driven by always discovering new places, so if these are the goals, yes, doesn't make sense to buy a property, to buy a holiday home, doesn't make sense at all. But then on the other side, we might be that kind of personality which likes always to have to go in the same place. It's about the personality. Now, if I'm one personality, obviously I have to guess, presume that there is someone else who is not thinking like me. This is, we can use this for anything in our life, left and right. If I'm left, if I follow the left, I have to think that there is someone who is thinking the opposite of me, because this is part of the humanity. So basically, what we should do, we shouldn't judge, let's say. Let's say that we shouldn't judge now. I'm talking for myself. Obviously, I would like to own a holiday home. I'm not the kind of person who likes to visit constantly different places. For me, holidays, it's just a place for where I go and I relax. I take it easy, with no stress, because when we are when we are in our everyday routine in our life, when we work, I mean, we are constantly under pressure, we are constantly under stress. So for me, the concept of the holiday, it's not something that, for example, when I go on holiday, I have to be constantly active. I wouldn't been able to handle that. I wouldn't. So, but I'm talking on my behalf, from my experience. Obviously, there is that kind of personality who likes completely the opposite that I like. So for someone, an holiday always in the same place could be something extremely boring. Could be something that wouldn't tolerate. I mean, obviously. So basically, there's no one better than another. What I'm saying is just to ask to ourselves what we like. Okay, so basically, you can ask to me my opinion, and you say, okay, Antonio, what would you like to do if you're going on holiday? I can even say, okay, I go here and there and I will spend, I don't know, I went 4 days in Rome. For me, it was a trauma. It was a huge trauma, because I was with my mom, with my father, and they, even if they're elderly people, they constantly wanted to visit something, and I wasn't really interested in that, because it's my personality. And so I had to put efforts. After 4 days, I was completely exhausted. It took me a week to recover from that holiday, let's call it holiday, and museum, the Vatican museums, which I enjoyed. Don't let me say, don't, I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy, of course, but it was so exhausting. While for me, the concept of the holidays is something that has to be relaxing, completely relaxing. The less I do, the better. Maybe cooking, but spending day. It's not a problem for me if I go always to the same beach, always to the same seaside, for example. But if I want to put a little extra, let's say I have a holiday home somewhere and in a short distance, can be 20 minutes, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. For me, up to, okay, let's say 1 hour and a half maximum. I can decide and start discovering different places, but then at the end of the day, I would always want to come back to my place and sleep in my own bed. Again, it's about the personality. But I don't judge who likes totally the opposite from me, because we all have a different attitude when we are approaching anyway. Everything can be from an holiday, from the politics, from the food, whatever we want we can put. And so, but again, what we have to do is simply to not judge who is thinking the opposite way, because I respect different opinions. And maybe if I'm listening to someone, because it's very important to listen, not only to talk, that's why I like as well to reply to some comments, which I find very interesting. And so then in the end, the question, to answer to that question, is it convenient to buy a holiday home? The answer is, what is your attitude? If your attitude obviously is to always going to visit different places, don't buy a house, don't buy, it's a waste of money. And it could be like a prison. If I try to put myself, I would see it as a prison, then I would think about the maintenance, then I would think about the bills. While if I'm the person who likes to go uh, always in the same place, um, I would put all these things that he listed, like the taxes, the money we spend to buy, the bills, and the maintenance. I would put under the budget, okay, so I know that if I own a property, it's gonna cost me annually, every year, it's gonna cost me that. So I put it in a budget. It's a kind of budget that I know, because here then we open a very big chapter, which is on the it's on the socials, it's on YouTube, nearly in every video that is recommended to me. Young people who cannot afford to buy houses and they would like to buy houses, and how difficult it is to buy a house. And nowadays they are expensive, mortgages are high, and so people find themselves now. Obviously, we are talking about not a holiday home, but a holiday home, I see it personally as part of a budget. If I decided I'm not buying a holiday home at the moment, because obviously I wouldn't like to pay taxes. So property taxes, for example, these, if my budget, if my income is not high enough to cover the expenses for a holiday home, this is another important point. If my income is not high enough, I can only bankrupt myself, and I don't want to bankrupt. So we also have to consider the budget, all right? Or, for example, I'm thinking about elderly people who are living in huge houses, and maybe they want to sell, and just to relocate, the pensioners who wants to sell and just relocate somewhere else. I consider myself, even if I'm not that old to be in the pension age, but I already put myself in this condition where I sold mostly let's say everything, which is not, because as you know, I own properties somewhere else, which I don't like to mention, but you know where. Uh, but basically all my asset before I moved here, I just sold it between 2023 and early 2024. I sold everything and I started trying to generating a passive income, small passive income. I don't have big life standards. My life standard is quite low. I don't need big money. Anyway, I changed a bit topic. This is not important. Again, so it's about the personality. It's about what we like, what we don't like. Obviously, I would never recommend to buy a property, a holiday home, if your personality is always to visit different places. Then, for yesterday, I opened the topic where a lot of Italians have a second home, is because generally Italian people, there are some Italians who like to go to visit many different places, but overall, the majority of the Italians like to have a second home, like me, to see a place where you just relax and you recharge your batteries for the following year, for the working times. So something like that. Then I hope I've answered to the comment. Let me know under the comment under this video if you're satisfied with this answer. Basically, that's the only point I see. Again, I repeat one more time, the personality. Then I want to read another comment that I found quite interesting. Now, I still think Salento is one of the best places to live in Italy. Now, we all know, who follows my channel knows that I talked a lot about Salento. Salento, I agree, is one of the best places. I don't know where to live, but where to, yes, let's say where to live. That's according to him. Then I said yesterday that to not spend more than 50K, but he says in this comment that in Salento you need much more than 50, 100, 150, maybe 200, up to half million, 1 million. Depends on the budget. We all have different budget. But between 100 and 150, you can buy a very decent place in small towns such as beautiful Nardò, Galatone, Galatina, much cheaper than Ostuni, Martina Franca. Do you know Salento? What do you think? So he's asking me. Obviously, I know Salento quite well. Not Lecce province. I know more the part of Brindisi province. And this is the reason why technically I love Salento. Let me repeat. But the reason why I'm not really into Salento, that's what I replied to him, is because I see it very far from the rest of Italy. While, for example, I'm the kind of person that is true, likes to be always in one place, but I also like the idea that within a short distance, 1 hour and a half, even 2 hours, I can be in totally completely different place, like Naples and many other places from where I am. While, for example, if I'm in Gallipoli or Otranto or some parts of the southern Salento, it might take 2 hours just to arrive to Bari if you want to commute. So, and you are still another 2-3 hours from other parts. So that journey would be too long for me. While I like to be in a place, I can be in Molise region in 2 hours. I can be in Matera in 1 hour. I can be at the border with Calabria within 2 hours. So I can even pick places which are not very close to Montemirone, but in 2 hours driving maximum I can handle. Rome was 4 hours driving, 4.5, to give you an idea. But if I'm in the southern part of Salento and I want to go to Rome, it might take up to 7 hours. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't live 365 days a year in Salento. If I see it as a holiday home, yes, because anyway, Salento has many beautiful places to discover. So if I have a holiday home in Salento, let's say in the southern part, I know that anyway, in a short distance, in 20 minutes, in 30 minutes, I can reach many beautiful different beaches, beautiful towns. Each town has its own celebration, and each evening you can go to a different town within a short distance, but as a holiday place. Again, gives you the chance to discover many places, but all, let's say, in the Salento area. Or maybe you can even go to Brindisi province or up to Taranto, but it's already more than 1 hour. So that's the thing about Salento. No, I mean, it's true that to find a decent property is true. You need to spend, let's say, over 150,000 euros. Between 100 and 150, you're still compromising a bit. If you want to find a beautiful property in Salento, nearly 200 or even more than 200,000. But if I'm looking just for a holiday home, it's possible to find something for 50,000. But for 50,000, not a place where to live all the year around, just a holiday home. Something small, 15 square meters. A holiday home doesn't have to be big. Generally, this is what Italians are thinking when they buy their holiday home. They don't need a villa unless they're millionaires. But if they are average people, you reduce your taxes. Obviously, a small place, you reduce expenses. So you can find the advantage of having holiday home again, if it's a small property, you don't need to spend big money. So in Salento, still possible to find. I found this morning a beautiful property in Salento area, 1 bedroom, living room, kitchen, bathroom, 55 square meters for tractors for 57,000 euros, all renovated, completely fully renovated. And that can also generate a passive income. You can give it to an agency that is gonna let the property while you are not there, for example. So, but again, then there is the taxation. Things are not always very, very smooth and easy. So there are always a lot of things to consider. Again, just to close the video, to live in Salento, if you like to live in Salento, yes, the budget is over 150,000 and you will find a beautiful house and so on. But if it's a holiday home in Salento, you can still find something small for 50,000, 55, 60. You don't really need big money. Actually, you can even find something maybe, okay, if it's in a bad condition, down to 30, 35, 40, but then you need renovation, and then again, that's extra money, and so on. All right, my friends, so let me know under the comment section if you enjoyed this video. Again, here from my bedroom, from the balcony, here, let me show you, let's see, Monte Milone. All right, my friends, next week is gonna be a very busy week. My wife goes back to work, so not only from home, she will go back as well to the English school, so I need to be supportive, going back to be a taxi driver. Cooking, I cook already every day. I should start making cooking videos. That's another story. Even my wife doesn't want, because I have a very shabby kitchen. I tell you this. Wait, I have the plug there. I don't like it. I have a very shabby kitchen, extremely. The thing is this, when I bought this property here in Monte Milone, I spent 2,000 euro to just do some little works. Okay, installed a new gas boiler. Let's say I spent nearly 4,000 euro in expenses to break down a wall and couch, table, these things, for my plan. I said, okay, let's last 1 year, then we're gonna make a new kitchen, but the kitchen is still the old one. And I decided to not go for a new kitchen because I still see, anyway, I'm the kind of person that still look around, you see, even if I'm living here at the moment, but I feel very flexible, so I can even change location anytime I want, so I don't see it, but obviously I like here and I would like to stay here. But I also like the idea to live or to buy when it will be the opportunity to buy somewhere else. So I don't see the point to go and spend extra money in a new kitchen and so on. At the moment, I'm extremely compromising. Now I set another goal. I said, let's see, in 3 years from the moment we bought, so we bought last year in 2024, 2027. If in 2027 I'm still here, then I promise I'll make a new kitchen. So let's talk about June 2027, a tiny bit less than 2 years. I'm Anyway, I was saying I'm joking. No, I'm not joking, but I should make some videos while I'm cooking. I put the camera. If it's if is it okay for you to see a shabby kitchen? Actually, I should show you my shabby kitchen just to let you have a bit of fun and my spirit of adaptation, ready to compromise. I don't really care. I don't like to flush money in the toilet. I'd rather work less. End of the story. Another 26 minutes video. We have wow, a tractor full of grape. They're already harvesting the September. Summer, it's already time to harvest the grape. Yes, true. All right, my friends, have a nice day, and I'll see you here on Italy, a Place to Love YouTube channel. Bye.